Hi, welcome to Dan and Saran Take on Hollywood. Today, we once again have Addison Randall sitting in for Saran Fox and our guest, Michael Gonzalez. Today's topic is going to be one that will hopefully ignite some controversy and infuriate a lot of you over trivialities.
Oh,
and
yes.
that is supposedly classic movies that we hate and why. And anyone who's been to film school knows that you spend a great deal of time while you're learning film history, while you're learning the business of entertainment and all that other stuff, that you get to see a lot of movies. And while most of them are really, really great, and you look at them and you say, wow, that's a classic, I understand why 70 years after it was made, it still has relevance to audiences of today. But then there are those others where you look at it and you feel like you have been condemned to one of Dante's levels of hell. And worse than that, at the end of the class, there's usually some pointy-headed PhD student who will say, oh, let's watch it again. And then the teacher will say, okay. And you look at them going, you are so going to meet me in a dark alley after this. So anyway, let's start out with Addison.
Oh, God.
Can you tell us a movie that has a lot of renown that you look at and go, I have no clue why people love this movie?
Probably not. I go to films to sit down in a theater, enjoy the experience, be taken somewhere I've never been taken. I really honestly don't think that much about what they meant. I don't. So
Doesn't
I
matter
really
what it
can't.
means. It means a movie that a lot of people say, hey, this is a great movie. And you look at it and you're in the theater and you're saying, I'm seeing a different movie from the rest of this audience.
Nothing comes to mind, to be perfectly honest. Nothing comes to mind. Most of the classics that I can think of, I enjoy. You were talking earlier about Shakespeare in Love. Sorry, I like it. I like it because I understand it from another viewpoint. I understand it from the viewpoint of theater. It's about theater. It's about what happens in theater.
Well, there's nothing wrong with liking something that everyone in the world thinks is great. It's when you have this aversion to something that everyone else thinks is an immortal classic, and you just don't get it.
The immortal classics, to me, I mean, Citizen Kane. I'll buy that. I like it. I think it's brilliantly
Nope.
done. Whoa.
Okay, Michael, take it away.
Nope.
Oh, get out your
Nope.
sword, and I'll meet you on the honor field. And
Okay, here's my issue, and with Citizen Kane is number one when it's always compared as the best film of all time to, say, Casablanca. No, it is not. Casablanca, numero uno. It's a great film. It's phenomenal. It's well shot. It's very beautiful, but it's very, to me, now I could be, maybe I'm reading this completely different than the rest of the world, and maybe I'm crazy, but very divorced or very devoid from emotional connection. So I'm sitting there watching it, and it reads very cold. I don't like that.
it absolutely should read cold.
No, and I get that. It's the morality. I understand all of that.
No, it's worse than the morality thing.
But it just I don't see it. I don't. Maybe I'm watching a different movie. Maybe I'm not watching the right cut. Maybe I got a bad cut. I don't know. But I don't feel it's that film, the pinnacle of our film, you know.
I think what you're missing, and it's going to sound very strange to say this, but I think it's age. I think that's the problem. And yet you like Casablanca, so
Love it.
But you don't have any experience of the politics that was going on at the time the picture was made, because they were ducking his lordship. There were suits being filed while they were shooting. There were suits being filed, and Wells was basically just, screw you, I don't care. I didn't make this about him. And yes, he did. And everybody knew it.
Well, here's the thing. Now, I appreciate Citizen Kane, but I don't particularly like it either. even though I teach it. The reason I don't particularly like Citizen Kane is that it wears its genius elements on its sleeve. It's like a big show-off. It's like that bully in school. It's like the quarterback and the cheerleader who walk down the hall acting all entitled. And yes, they have a reason to be acting all entitled, but that doesn't stop the more geeky of us from looking at them going, one of these days I'm going to take you down because you're going to have gained 50 pounds and I will be the millionaire who creates a .com company or something like that. But with Citizen Kane, the objection that Hearst had, because remember there was a movie made called The American with Spencer Tracy that is arguably far more negative toward Hearst than Citizen Kane is. The reason that Hearst hated the film and tried everything in his power to destroy it is because of Rosebud. And what Rosebud was, 70 plus years old. There's no such thing as a spoiler.
Trigger warning.
When the fact that Rosebud was his sled didn't mean anything. That was a kind of a nice mystery for the average audience. For people in Hollywood, they knew what Rosebud was. William Randolph Hearst was having an affair with Marion Davies, who was a really, really good comedian, not at all the untalented Susan Alexander. She had been at the top of the Ziegfeld ticket, so she was hardly a no talent. That was William Randolph Hearst's name for her private parts. Yeah. Now, this is something that Wells did not have to do. Wells did that deliberately to just show how cheeky and genius he was. And at a certain point, someone can be too cheeky and genius for their own survival. And that's exactly what happened there.
Okay, well, that's fine. I never said that he's going to, unfortunately, sadly, I mean, Wells was that brilliant and that pushy that it literally killed his career from that point on, because he went so far, so fast because of that film. He peaked before he should have. Mm-hmm. And he did it on that film. Now, what you're saying about Rosebud, but that was all combined into a very small, by comparison, a small group of people. So it was an inside joke. And well, also, if you're going to look at the movie from the point of view of an inside joke, that's wasting the whole film.
Well, it would have probably never made money no matter what, because it's a movie that's not joyful to watch. It doesn't leave you with a good feeling.
No.
Would you say it was cold?
Totally cold. Okay. But it actually led to one of the greatest innovations in Hollywood. When RKO said, "We are too through with you," and kicked Wells to the curb, they brought in Val Lewton from David O. Selznick. Now, Val Lewton was, in his own way, a bit of a tweetpot, and someone who wanted to do great literature. And RKO said at this point, "We don't want geniuses, we want money." So they said to Val Lewton, "We're going to give you carte blanche. You can make anything you want." And whenever someone offers you something that's too good to be true,
read the small print.
It usually is.
It's too good to be true.
It usually
but look at what he did with that. Truth about Hollywood is that limitations beget creativity. And in this case, they assigned him a horrendous title, Cat People. And so he went and made one of the most innovative horror movies made up to that point, which completely picked up what Universal had done so well and added another element to it. An element that has since become so overused, doesn't work that well anymore, where you don't show the monster and thereby create greater suspense.
Until Jaws.
Jaws is 40 years ago. But I mean, today, it's 70 years later. And when you see a movie that deliberately doesn't show the monster, we automatically think, well, you ran out of money and couldn't afford the CGI. Alien is 30-something years old.
But still, how
these
old
are
is it?
older pictures
How old
now.
is it from?
It's
from
older
that
than I am.
point?
Exactly. See, we have to remember that, Addison. You and I are old people.
That's right.
Yes. So when we think of something as fairly current, like Alien, that's before Michael Gonzalez was even born.
Oh my
exactly.
God.
So by many years, by almost a decade.
Oh my God! I'm having a heart attack.
Exactly. But when you look at that and you see what Val Lewton was able to do, he had always wanted to do an adaptation of Jane Eyre. So he did. He did a complete remake of Jane Eyre. I mean, the fact that it was called I Walked with a Zombie was probably not something that he was that thrilled with. But
they wanted to make money, so they called it something that people would go see.
It was a huge hit. He completely changed the style of what it took to make a horror movie. And when you look at 1941 and the criticism over what won Best Picture instead of Citizen Kane, well, first of all, Citizen Kane was never going to win Best Picture after Roosevelt. Not going to happen. The movie that won Best Picture is How Green Was My Valley. And I'm willing to bet that there's far more movies that have taken a cue from How Green Was My Valley than have taken a cue from Citizen Kane. So How Green Was My Valley, John Ford at his peak is really, I would think, is a better picture than Citizen Kane. That's me.
Never seen it, so I don't know.
Huh?
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
But anyway, so now that you see kind of how this is done, do you have any movies that you can think of that are in a similar way overrated?
Oh boy.
I think we mentioned somewhere in the past that you had a, shall we say, lack of fondness for Titanic.
Yeah. I wasn't a big Titanic fan. I thought it held. I mean, it was beautiful to look at. You've got two very beautiful stars. I mean, both of them incredibly looking, but to get the attention that it got, like Mike said, it started really. Yeah. It was long. It was long. It struggled. I mean, it slogged through the mud. And how do you make a picture?
Yeah, I don't need to see a 5 or 2. I don't even know how damn long the 10 hours.
Oh my God!
However long it was, I didn't need to see a 10-minute or 20-minute dance sequence with Jack and no.
Well, that plus the fact when you walked into the
or
theater,
a jig, whatever it was, an Irish jig.
Yeah,
whatever.
When you walked into the theater, you knew how the movie was going to end.
Yeah.
It's like
you knew the ending.
Wait a minute, I walked in here.
You knew the
I'm
ending.
Yes.
Well, that didn't really hurt A Night to Remember, and I'll be honest. I would have thought, for me personally, that it would have been very hard to make a worse Titanic movie than The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
You would be wrong.
They did. and okay, now the reason I hated Titanic was and hate is a strong word, but I actually did, because I found the old lady in it, who, by the way, was one of my favorite actors. You see Gloria Stewart in Old Dark House in 1932. She's the sexiest little thing ever. Anyway. You see her in this, and what does she do at the end? She takes this heirloom that would put her granddaughter in a very nice living position for the rest of her life. And there's no hint that she has become independently wealthy. Not that money is everything, but let's face it.
No, but it's way ahead of what's ever in second place.
Yeah, money might not buy happiness, but it rents it nicely, right? And so she takes this diamond bauble and tosses it in the ocean. I mean, talk about your silly sentimental gestures that has just robbed someone of an inheritance. Now, if we'd found out that the daughter had married someone from the wrong side of the tracks or something like that, and it somehow pissed her off, and this was a good way to get revenge, yeah, maybe that's what you do. You disinherit your heirs that way. But that's all I could focus on that, and also that Kathy Bates was not a great Molly Brown.
Well. I did like, I had to admit, I liked it. I don't know if it's real because it must have been, somebody must have researched it. But when the band, the boat is like really in bad, and the band comes out, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure serving with you. And they all start playing again, and it's like, really? They're gonna, if it happened, okay, that's one, and it's a great moment.
Walter Lord's book, Night to Remember, kind of says it did, but
it's a great moment in the picture. It really is. But
I think at that point it's okay to stop playing and get off the boat.
Well, there wasn't a getting off the boat.
But there was no getting off the boat, and it was a situation of, if you're going to go down well.
So, yeah.
So that was what I liked about the moment. It was kind of nice. But the picture as a whole, really? And didn't it get Best Picture?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
I remember seeing it and going. I don't remember what it was up against, but I remember going, no, please, why? It didn't, But it was, well, first of all, it was Cameron. And everybody loves Cameron, much to the fact that he's a shit to work with. Can I say that?
Or be married to.
Well, after all, look what happened with
Hurt Locker.
Ed Harris, the guy he almost drowned on The Abyss.
Oh, well, yeah.
You don't really. I mean, we all know Hollywood's full of crazy people. You don't want to run the risk of your actor dying.
He's one of the craziest. But he's box office. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do?
DeMille was pretty bad too, walking around with his little whip that he would strike at actors if they didn't do what he said.
Who was that?
DeMille.
DeMille.
Oh, well,
Cecil
DeMille, come on. DeMille was a walking ego trip. There's a story that my dad told me one time about DeMille, where he was getting ready to lay out this big scene, and there was an extra down here in front of him, and he's got the megaphone and everything like that, and this extra's talking, and he stops what he's saying. You there, yes, you. You seem to have something important to say. What is it? He goes, oh, Mr. Bill, I'm very sorry. No, I really don't. Oh, yes. We all want to hear what you have to say that's so important that I don't. So the poor guy goes, well, I just was wondering when that son of a bitch was going to let us go to lunch.
Yep.
Come to find out, the guy was a reporter. He was doing a piece on the
Yep.
movies. So he didn't care whether he was in there or not. He didn't care at all.
Well, that's so true of how much of Hollywood where they kind of go in that direction.
Also, there's a great joke or a reference to that in Blazing Saddles, where I believe it's the mayor, the deputy mayor says he's killed more people than Cecil DeMille. It's great. I love that. It's such a great joke. It was I got it even at 12. When I first saw that film, it was still funny. It's even funnier now.
Now, there's one that I guess people would consider a classic that I just really...
Blazing Saddles?
Oh, please.
Oh no!
It's got good moments.
No,
in it, but
yeah,
over
throw
the
that.
top.
Producer, throw that. He's about to throw something.
Yeah, well, I didn't throw it. I'll throw it back. It doesn't have the humor of Young Frankenstein. It's, for me,
That hurts
it
my
was,
soul
it was,
a little bit.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
not gonna lie.
sorry.
That does hurt a little bit.
Well,
But
then
that's okay. Go ahead. Why does it suck? Why is it not that great?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the firewood scene where they're all sitting around.
The beans?
Yeah, the beans. Everybody seems to think that's hilarious. Saying, just hated it. It's like, would have been funny if it had been about, 10 seconds or 20 seconds shorter. But good God, it was just please. Okay. And that basically ruined the picture for me. I like some of the moments in it. When who played the cowboy, the black guy? I can't think of it.
Yeah, it's
Slim.
now that's great. I shouldn't be
Yeah,
blanking
now
on
I'm
that
blanking
either.
too.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, he comes out and holds the whole town up. You move and I shoot that N-word. That was a funny moment. Mm-hmm. That was funny.
Genius.
That was one of the few funny moments in it. Everything else was, come on.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It was like, really? And then you compare it to something, you compare it side by side with Young Frankenstein, which is a brilliant classic
No,
film.
of course.
That is no way around it.
Frankenstein.
Follow my hump. Hump? What hump? I mean, which film gets quoted more, Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles?
Excuse me while I whip this out. I hear that all the time. I get that.
Well, the producer still has a lot of quotes coming out of it too.
Yeah, producers. Yeah,
Oh, the producers. Well, yeah, but that was a play first.
for sure.
The producers.
No, it was a movie first, then it was backwards into a play.
Was it?
Yeah, Broadway, right? And
Yeah,
then
okay.
and then
Well, you
another
can see-
reiteration.
Then another
of-
movie.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
movie.
Okay. Well. Anyway, that's no. Blazing Saddles. No, not his best work.
Okay.
Not as bad as Oh God.
High anxiety. Spaceballs.
Spaceball.
No.
Spaceball. Oh,
No.
absolutely.
How can you say
five,
that with
No.
5 on that one.
No,
Spaceballs.
I'm the
Oh,
only one on this
please.
panel that likes Spaceballs.
No, well, okay. I like the moment when the alien jumps out and starts saying, "Hello, my
Yes!
baby, hello,
Isn't
my
that
honey."
funny?
That's one of the great moments in film, period.
Yes.
But some of the rest of it not so good.
I'm on the wrong panel.
Okay, I'll tell you the one that I hated. And this is the one that actually, because I was going to USC at the time that this came out, I had to keep it a deep, dark secret. I mean, there's a lot of secrets in my life, and that was one of the biggest at that time, was E.T. I really hated the movie E.T.
I can see why you would keep that under wraps.
Because
Wow.
Spielberg is God.
not only was Spielberg God, but a couple of my roommates had seen it over 100 times, and I'm sitting
Why?
there going,
Why would you see that movie that many times?
It was the same way that people would see Sound of Music that many times. I mean, remember when Sound of Music was first released, that it played in theaters in first run until 1971.
I mean,
E.T.
E.T. is okay, but not 100 times.
Oh, please. There were a lot of people who saw it that many times. My friend in Tokyo literally sat in the theater for almost an entire week watching it back to back. And you're looking, and I'm looking at this movie, and I'm seeing this kind of okay TV movie.
Yeah.
And with a really ugly, gnomey little creature in it that I felt was kind of whiny.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't get E.T.
It was a sweet little story, and he hit the middle class right between the eyes with that picture.
Mm-hmm.
He hit I get up every morning, I go to work, I come back, I feed my 2.5 kids and my cat. Every one of them saw that picture and went, "Oh."
Yep.
You know, from a filmmaker's point of view or a film student's point of view, no, not that great.
Oh no, these are all film students who loved it.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
USC
then-
kids.
And,
Yeah.
and you were seeing them all wanting to remake it
Oh, please.
in one form or another.
No.
I mean,
You don't mess with what works.
my secret favorite of that era of the Spielberg things, of the Spielberg canon, was Poltergeist, which whether he
so
really
good.
directed it or not, who knows? But Poltergeist
good.
I really enjoyed, even
good.
though it was a
I did
secret
too.
remake of one of his TV movies. Did you ever see
I don't doubt
Something
that.
Evil? Something Evil is this TV movie he made with Darren McGavin and Sandy Dennis. And, everyone said, "Oh, Duel, oh, Night Gallery." And then you go, "Well, what about Something Evil?" And they go, "What?" Because they have successfully suppressed that he made that movie. It's okay. It's in the realm of TV movies, it's actually one of the better ones. But when you think of who made it, this isn't like Columbo, where Spielberg's Columbo really does kind of knock it out of the park. But it's still in that average realm. It isn't Duel. And I guess that's why with Poltergeist, he took those elements and made them really work.
Well,
Great film.
he's good at that. I mean, he's good at taking what scares him and making it scare you. And the man's brilliant when it comes to suspense. It's just he's brilliant. I don't know how else to say
Indiana
it.
Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Gotta
Yeah.
love it.
So, Michael, what's another one that
That's what I was
everyone
trying to
loves?
think. That I'm another classic. I don't know if it's a classic, but it's made a lot of money. Avatar, I can't stand.
Wow, we're having a real bash poor James today, aren't we?
Well, he can take it. He made Terminator. That's fine. It
That's
evens
true.
out.
And you know
It
what?
evens out.
Terminator, for me, Terminator,
He'll
Aliens, and Terminator 2, he's worth everything.
Get out of jail free card for that. It's fine. But yeah.
Although, if we talk about the extended versions of Terminator 2 or Aliens,
the director cut. Oh,
Yeah, I can't take those.
Yeah, no.
No, usually on those things you find that the producer's cut is the better film, and it's because directors have no sense of I've got to sell this, so they want to be artistic, and the producers are going, well, your art, my butt hurts. It's too long. Cut it.
Okay, I've got one that I dislike that was a real canon crusher. Spartacus.
The
I don't like
original.
Spartacus.
Correct.
At all.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
Well, okay. Yeah, there are certain Marquis de Sade elements in it that for those who are into torturous peplum movies, yeah, it kind of hits those. But it's really slow and it's really unpleasant in a way that
Oh, absolutely. but it was meant to be that way. It's Spartacus. It's not a happy story. I mean, you can't have a lot of
Ben-Hur's
gladiators
not a
dancing
happy
around it.
That would have been a
Ben-Hur's
great
not
movie.
a happy story
That would
either.
have been a great movie.
mean,
The
I have
chorus,
to
a
think
chorus line of
Chorus line of gladiators.
gladiators.
Oh, by the way, that's another one I don't particularly like is Ben-Hur.
I can see
Ben-Hur,
that.
yeah,
No,
I can see that.
Ten Commandments is
Although-
much worse as a movie, but it's so much more fun to watch.
Although the
Ten
remake
So
of Ben-Hur
ridiculous,
is worse. The remake.
Oh
is,
yeah. Oh, that was god.
That's a
awful.
movie that
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna say was never made. I,
Okay,
I
and it
think it'll
shouldn't
be
have
It'll get
completely
buried. It'll
unavailable.
get buried.
I don't think that movie's
Yeah.
going to be findable in 20 years.
It'll get
yeah,
buried.
it's just like, why did they even do it? I mean, sometimes you don't want to. I mean, that would be like trying to remake Citizen Kane. It's just, it would be stupid. It would be stupid. And why do they keep remaking all of these old good films that were good? They were good when they were made. They're still good. Leave them alone.
Well, sometimes they actually do better. Like I am 100% of the belief that Ocean's 11 and the Ocean series is so much better than Robin and the Seven Hoods or the original Ocean's 11.
Interesting.
Yeah, I will admit that. I
Oh,
will
here we.
admit that.
Is there? Oh.
Uh-oh.
Is he blow? Oh, is he good? Is
Uh-oh.
he okay? Oh,
Uh-oh.
he's good. Okay, producer's okay.
I mean, I think the new Ocean's 11 is terrific. I like those
Yes.
movies a lot.
But I mean, my God, look at that cast. And they
Yeah.
work so well together. They were just, I mean, they were friends on screen and they were friends off screen. The stories that they tell about each other.
The other one that I think is better, even though it's still not great and it's not remembered, is Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh yeah, no, that was good. Yeah.
I think the new one is, when you see the original, it has a lot of people remembering, oh, it's so sexy, that scene when Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway are playing chess, and it's like, really? When you see, I understand it was the fall of censorship, 2 years out of Sound of Music, so yeah, the fact they're playing chess, and oh, it means that they're thinking that it was a big thing. Now you look at it and you go, really, this is really twee.
Yeah, well, I got to admit, it's a Steve McQueen movie, so I don't care.
That's the thing,
The
is that
fact
he's
is-
so great in it.
That's
it's
well, of
boring.
course. I mean, McQueen, anything he was in, he was the master of the no dialogue reaction. That man could give you a moment with a look, and everything he did just that. He didn't need dialogue. So,
Look at how good he's in The Getaway.
well, there you
Getaway,
go.
Bullet.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, Bullet. Ah, yes, first time a curse word was ever used on screen.
Huh.
Which one?
You son of a bitch.
No, because bitch was already in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Hmm.
But there's another word that I know that bullet. I'm sure you're right that there's a naughty word in it that hadn't
Was
been
not
used
used,
before.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it
there was,
wasn't
because
bitch.
I remember when I watched it, we were
like, oh.
the whole audience. Oh. And maybe it was bastard.
No, that's
It
in
wasn't
Who's
an
Afraid of Virginia
F-bomb?
Woolf, too.
No F-bombs?
No,
F-bombs?
no, I don't think it was an F-bomb.
No, the F word came in a little bit later, in the 70s.
Yeah, but I do remember that the whole
That
audience.
was why All the President's Men had a problem, because they had the F word in it, and for a while there, Warner Brothers was threatened with getting an R. But after bribing Valente with enough money, they got.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're running out of time. So thank you again, Addison, for
My
sitting
pleasure,
in for Saran,
anytime.
and thank you again, Michael.
Of course. Absolutely.
And please like and subscribe, and join us for the next issue of Dan and Saran Take on Hollywood.
I don't know where wherever the subscribe button is.
There.
Subscribe.
There.